Hi everyone, it's Natalie here, and I'm getting ready to do our tarot cards for the week starting Sunday the 1st of December, so today, through Saturday the 7th. And this week I'm going to be using the Mary L. Tarot, first edition, and of course, as always, we have our Amenti Oracle card. And this week I'm going to be reading also with the Dreamtime Reading Cards by Laura Bowen, which is a new deck for me, relatively. I've pulled a few cards from it, and it's wonderful. I haven't done a lot of deep reading with it yet, but we'll be working with it for sure today, which I'm very excited about. So before we start, the Amenti Oracle card, and you can see a greater, longer explanation of this. Ooh, I came out this way of the deck in the other video. Our card this week is I Keep My Own Counsel. And you can see the entire card and reading for the meaning of the card in the general reading, because I always bookmark it so that people can find it. But in short, keeping our own counsel means monitoring ourselves, making our own choices, and being completely responsible for our own behavior and thoughts, thinking, ideas, and doing so in favor of, as you can see, she's got this beautiful feather, keeping that feather light heart space for ourselves and for the people around us. Wonderful, wonderful reminder. What do we do when no one's looking? How do we approach things? And it's also about flexibility. It's about being able to shift direction because we can't control all of the circumstances around us. So knowing that we can't, how can we take responsibility for our reactions and our responses to the things that happen? So that's the Amenti Oracle card. And I've done quite a bit of shuffling, but we're going to see if we can find 3 cards or let 3 cards jump for us from the deck for the coming week. So 3 cards, please, deck. Oop. We've got 2 that just came out. And they make perfect sense. So the first one that jumped out is the 2 of Discs. And that is holding a balanced vision. So it's being able to see what's going on inside yourself, right, with this more like yin silver coin. And it's holding a vision of what's going on outside of yourself with this sort of gold or yang colored coin. And then being able to hold that space and balance it between the two. What's my response in what, how do I want to respond, and what's happening inside of me in reaction or response to what's going on out there? And then how do I want to manage that? Okay, so that's our first card. The second one that just came out with it is the 8 of Wands, which is trusting the process. And these 2 jumped together or came out sideways together. So I'm going to read them together and we'll pull 2 more. But this one is about, it's the 8 of Wands. It's quick moving. We know that. But unlike a lot of other decks, instead of, just seeing that blind, several 8 wands going across the screen, so to speak, here we have something else. We have the force of life and passion and things that are in motion carrying this sleeping person, looks female, with an infinity sign in the form of a snake. And she's safe and she's protected from the heat and the fire of all of that movement and all of that energy. So trust. We need to balance our view, look at things from every possible perspective, see what's happening in our own bodies, feel what's happening in our own bodies, and then trust what's going on around us is ultimately for our highest good. It's going to be okay. All right. So those are the first 2. Let's see what we have next. Ooh. Okay, so the 6 of Wands. So the keywords that I have for this 6 of Wands are feed your demons. If we think about, this is going to be victorious no matter what, right? But this is Archangel Michael. And really, in order to be victorious, right, which we know is very much associated with a Six of Wands, in order to be victorious, we have to actually look at what the adversary is, and we need to face it, look it in the eye. And if you notice, he does that with great gentleness, with great ease. I call this one feeding your demons with a specific reason in mind. In the Tibetan practice that I have been working within for the past year and a half or so, there is a practice that our Lama came up with called feeding your demons. So as we look deeply inside ourselves and we identify that there is something, there is some form, right? Some thought form, some idea, etc. Instead of engaging it as a thought form or a belief, as a physical pain, we allow it to become embodied as a form of some kind, right? As a demon. And then recognizing that ultimately that is a part of ourselves. What we do is we welcome that demon to come out of us and sit on the mat across from us. And then we talk to it. We find out what it needs, what it wants, why it hurts, why it's coming up. And then we imagine this beautiful nectar flowing endlessly from our bodies to feed that poor demon until it's all the way full and it's no longer a demon. Because often it's not having enough or not having the needs met that creates something as a demon or something as bad. And that when you feed it and you take care of it and you offer it love and you offer it space, it has the opportunity to transform into something more like an ally. And when we can identify the ally, they come out as the most extraordinary things. I've had an ally that came out as a skunk, like a really cute little skunk. I once had an ally that was a pigeon. That was one of my favorites, actually. It's made me love pigeons all the more. In other words, by facing our demons, we're victorious, and we empower different parts of ourselves that are then able to come up and assist us rather than acting as an additional adversary. Very important. So if you were there for the general reading, this would be kind of like the Two of Wands, Two of Challenges. So taking a long, hard look in that mirror, and instead of identifying what's wrong with you, see it as something that's just a part of you, but isn't really you exactly. But it's also part of you, so it's not completely separate. Take it in and offer it some love. It's okay. All right, so that is our Six of Wands. And then that might also be part of the sensing, being able to sense. We want one more card for the week. Okay, so the final card for the week is the Magician. So remember, you're the one that's empowered. You're the one that's empowered this week. You have the ability to keep your own counsel. Very, very similar cards, right? Keeping your own counsel is remembering that, even though the Magician has the ability to manifest things that come from the abyss, right? The gifts and the soul gifts and unique talents. Keeping your own counsel means being willing to take ownership and responsibility for those things, and remembering too that you are fully empowered to you're fully empowered to take ownership of who and what you are. So I had to pause there to think about that for a second, but I think that's really all that needs to be said. Yeah. So let's grab a Dreamtime reading card. So I'm going to go ahead and give these a shuffle and we'll see what pops out. I love all of these synchronicities that keep coming up in the readings between the two readings, the general and the 3 card or the basic, the more simple. Woo! Wow, that one jumped. Okay, wow. Ocean. Oh my gosh. Okay, this one fits in well. The key word for ocean is surrender. It's surrender. Sorry, that was a text that just came through. I don't know if it dinged for you guys as well. But anyway, yeah, with surrender, this is so much a part of it. We can do so much to manifest, right? And own what we're doing. But if we don't balance that with the surrender, you know, recognizing when it's better to let go of things and move forward without encumbrance, how can we allow the greater flow of life to take us where we're supposed to be? We need to trust the process, right? So the key word for this one is to trust the process. The way to trust that process is to really focus on seeing what's going, see what's happening inside ourselves, what's happening in the world around us as well, right? When difficult things come up, as they may this week, spend time looking deeply at ourselves. We need to do that. And then as we do, see it through the eyes of an angel. Archangel Michael is filled with compassion, filled with love. What can you give to those parts of yourself that are so in need of your understanding, of your compassion? What would help them in order for you to get through the week? Okay, and then finally, remembering that we're empowered, right? We are empowered, and just as we're empowered to keep our own counsel, again, we're also required to surrender and let go, right? If we are part, and I just was writing about this with regards to the Marielle Tarot this week, in fact, that's why I'm kind of laughing at like all of the synchronous stuff coming up here. As human beings, we come from this giant ocean, of consciousness, of existence. That is where the abyss is, right? And we're coming up just as a tiny little wave that comes up and it goes back down. It arises and it recedes. And we're ultimately always a huge part of that greater, or a tiny part of that greater ocean. And we can trust that that process is normal and let go and surrender to it. And it will carry us, right? And what is the magician doing? The magician is going into the abyss and allowing gifts from the abyss to manifest. And in order to do that, a huge part of it is to, again, surrender and trust the process. What can we control? We can control our outlook. We control our view. We can manage the way we feel. And we do that through keeping our own counsel, and in part by managing our own demons and feeding our own demons. Take care of those parts of yourself that are upset and crying out and that need you. They're not the demons you think they are. They might ultimately be your allies if you take care of them. Okay, so wow, I can't believe how well that one came together. I wasn't going to do I had a whole different plan in mind, and when I got ready to film, it was like, no, use these decks, use them in this order, and do it this way. And when I listen, it usually turns out well. So there we go, and I'm not going to be all that late for my appointment that arose suddenly as I was filming my November wrap-up this morning. So it came together the way it was supposed to. Okay, everybody, take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Be empowered, my beautiful people. Tons and tons and tons of love to all of you. Bye.